the Sportscast, produced live out of Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Today is October 1st. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, and iTunes. If you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and review. It'll help us out tremendously. And don't forget, visit us at thesportscast.net. Also, as you can see on the screen, follow us on Twitter at thesportscast1. Thank you, and welcome to the show. Byron, how you doing today?
Great and wonderful Philadelphia.
Yes, in wonderful Philadelphia, and I'm in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. We're both Giant fans, so go figure.
There you go.
That's why I used to say New Jersey, because it's in New York, so it's in the wrong stadium.
True.
Well, I like to start the show real quick with this is our first podcast together. We've known each other for a long time, since I was a freshman in high school. But I want to dedicate this show and our first episode to two people very near and dear to me. One, as you see on the bottom of our screen, to your right, you should see hashtag Love Like Edward. Young gentleman I coached since fourth grade in baseball and basketball. Then I had the privilege from fourth all the way to high school, had the privilege of mentoring him out of college. And unfortunately, he died this year at 23 in a tragic car accident. So whenever you have a chance to hashtag out Love Like Edward, I'd appreciate it. And shout out to the Valdez family. They're like my family, and I love them. So it's really difficult. It was like a son to me. And I'd like to also dedicate this to a really good friend of mine. And one's like a son. This is a gentleman that I just admire and is a mentor. And Byron has found some information about him. I'd like for him to talk a little bit about that. Pelham McDaniels, or Dr. Pelham McDaniels III, was a 9-year NFL veteran, most of the time with Kansas City Chiefs. Thank God he was able to see his beloved Chiefs win the Super Bowl. He died this year at the age of 52, leaving behind a beautiful wife and two beautiful kids. So, we don't talk about the great things that NFL athletes do, only the bad. And this is probably not only a gentleman I admired, but it was somebody that is a phenomenal role model. Byron, you looked up a little bit about him. What were your thoughts when I told you about him and you checked him out?
Oh, the little bit of information I found about it seemed like he was a great person, great man. In life, people don't realize, how special a person is, until they're gone, and it's too late then. When they're gone. And this is one of the young men here that should have been plastered all over the news, as far as all the things, the books he's wrote, the different organizations that he was involved with. He's one of those people that should have been out there in front, not one of the bad stuff you hear, the gangbangers, or just the craziness in the world. But, he's one. I'm going to look up more stuff about him, and I'd really like to know a little bit more about this gentleman.
Yeah, he was fantastic. He was he's Dr. Pelham McDaniels, got his doctorate's post NFL, and he was a leader in many aspects. He was an inventor, a writer, an author, a professor, a professional athlete. So shout out to Pelham McDaniels and the Kansas City Chiefs. As you can tell, Byron and I are both Jersey boys, and we're Giant fans. So we're gonna get started today. And one thing about our show is we're always gonna have a segment where we're trying to find. We're not trying. We're going to find people like Pelham that made impact after sports, during sports, regardless of the sport it is. So we want to make sure we bring those type of athletes and people to the limelight. Is that fair, Byron?
Yep.
All right. So today I want to just start off real quick. Unfortunately, we're talking about the NBA Finals, and my Heat got beat up last night. Pretty bad. And not only did we get beat up in the loss column, we got beat up by losing our star, the Dragon Goran, for the rest of the playoffs. And he was averaging close to 20 points a game. But the highlight about this, Byron, I know up north there's Knick fans, and I was a big Knick fan until I came down here. But the gentleman, Goran, was actually the sixth man off the bench, and the person that he in front of him got injured, Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn was playing so well, became Rookie of the Year, but then he got hurt. Gordon came on and never left the starting position. So now it's reversing. So let's hope that Kendrick Nunn has it in him to prove that why he should be Rookie of the NBA All NBA rookie, and he's got to make up for Gordon, right? I mean,
yes, he does.
If you were a starter, you know how it is. You were the starter, you're out. Someone's playing better than you. You feel, okay, I got this. And now the guy is, you have to be prepared to go in at any time, correct?
Yep. Anytime you have to be ready. When your number's called, you got to step up to the plate.
Yeah, and I think I see him get some rust out of him. He looked pretty good last night, even though in a bad loss. But what do you think about the NBA with LeBron and AD getting together and making these master teams? It's like the dream team in NBA.
Well, let's throw it out there again. You had the Miami Heat, was the one that started this. When you had LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and the other guy, the third guy,
Chris Bosh. Don't say
Chris Bosh. There you go.
That's my favorite.
You had the super team, and what they do? They went down there, they did their thing, won a couple of championships, and then they all went their separate ways.
Yeah. Well, no. And Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade are still part of the Heat family.
But the team was a hired gun.
The
guy was who?
Yeah.
LeBron.
Yeah, but Riley's smart. He puts it no different than Boston. Boston had the big three. They started with the big three, right? Well, think about it. They won a championship with Doc Rivers. You had Ray Allen. You had Paul Pierce, and you had Kevin Garnett. I mean, those are some
how many championships did they win?
They won one.
One and done. One and done.
Okay, Ray Allen won two. He won one with us and one with them. So I'm pretty happy with that. LeBron and what hurt us, I mean, you played all sports and as well as I did, but you saw last night that, star players are going to be stars. What I think hurt the Heat is, and I'm in it till I lose, right? I'm in it to win it. But they got hurt by the role players for the Lakers, right? They killed us. LeBron's going to get his, right? AD's going to get his. But if that supporting cast doesn't come through, I think for me, the Heat has a deeper players that can perform. But they didn't perform last night.
What do the Lakers have? They have one of the greatest players of all time, LeBron James, and they have AD, who's slowly creeping up in the conversation as far as one of the better players the NBA.
And he's super young. Very young.
But
those Laker teams always do this to me, because even when they were playing, whoever they were playing, you knew that Magic was going to get these other ones. But then you got Robert Horry hitting a game-winning shot. He's got 7 rings. Sportscast I always talk about Robert, but he's got 7 championship rings, right? The one thing about the Heat that I've seen is that they play a lot of team basketball, so they're going to have to figure something out. But bottom line is, I still believe that if those role players continue playing the way they are, the Heat's going to have a really, really tough time. But our role players have to step up and play, because we don't have that superstar. And let's hope Bam Adebayo is okay. Well, but I think Spoelstra will come up with something. As much as people are coming out with the sweep, there's not going to be a sweep. No way.
The Lakers in 6.
The Lakers in 6. I say the Heat in 7. I'm going at.
I have to throw another guy, a guy back in the old days, people forgot, that has a whole bunch of rings. Bill Russell, 11.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget about Big Bill.
Yeah, but Bill was ahead of his time too. They were ahead of his time. It's like Wilt and all those. They were ahead of their time. But yeah, he's got a lot of rings. There's no different game. You played center, right?
Yeah.
You played center, and you're 6'5". You're not even big enough for a guard right now.
No, I'd be a small guard, but probably like a point guard or whatever. I know back in the day in Perth Amboy, we were talking about this earlier. The guy's name was Walter Dinky Proctor. He ended up at North Carolina State, and he played at New Brunswick. He was the first big guard I ever saw. He was 6'8" in high school.
Wow.
playing point guard or point forward or everywhere, and he was a beast. He dunked on me, yes, he did, and that's when I realized that what, maybe I should stick with the
The
football.
football.
I'll do a lot better playing the football.
Yeah, but the football helped as a D tackle with footwork, speed. Basketball gives you a lot of agility, and that's amazing that someone at their age at that time was playing guard because I think that coaches were hurting some players in the past, and I had to learn that myself too. Where you got a big kid and push him at center, right? Yep. And one thing I learned in coaching AAU and USSSA basketball here in Florida was I had to change the game because we didn't have any really big kids. So I learned the system from AAU magazine, and we played basketball from outside in, how basketball's played today. Yep. Right? Normally you would come in first, right? Work the inside and then go to outside. Right now it's all outside, right? Yeah,
so back in the day, what was it? Pound the ball inside.
Pound the ball inside.
Pound
exactly.
it inside. Get it to the big guy. Get it to the big fella.
But now you got look at Chris Bosh Chris Bosh is 7 feet. He was taking like 73 pointers. But back to the Heat, I think Spoelstra will put something together enough. And remember that Lakers were up. They beat Denver Nuggets bad in the first game. Bad, right? So I think the Heat has more depth than the Denver Nuggets. I don't know if you're familiar with the Nuggets organization or how they played, but they got blown out in the very first game. So I don't think it's going to be much of an issue for Miami to take the next game. They need to. Jimmy Butler has to stand up. So
well, that's what he's getting paid the big bucks for.
Exactly. What do you think about them playing in the bubble? What are your thoughts on how they handled that, and what are your thoughts about the play? Have you seen some of the NBA finals?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
It's just weird to see it. The way the game has to be played now because of what's going on in the world with the COVID-19 and everything. And it's just you figure, I know when I played as a player, you want the energy, as far as, with the crowd and all this other stuff, you just get revved up. And I guess, when these guys are paid the kind of money that they're paid, I guess you have to self-motivate when you have this kind of situation going on in the world.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question, and then I'm going to tell you my theory on what I saw in the bubble. So, when we played basketball growing up, I know we have some time frame difference between us, but we grew up in a small town. You either had a basketball court that was right by where you lived, right? Or you had a basketball court where we all went to play against each other. But it was like 2 or 3, whether it was Warren Park. What was the one down on the waterfront? Remember that one?
McWilliams Stadium.
McWilliams Stadium. And then, is that the one that was right on the water?
Yeah, Sadowski Parkway was the other way.
Yeah, that way.
That was in a good neighborhood. Yeah, Sadowski Parkway, McWilliams Stadium, right. Rudy Park was all the big time play. You had to be big time to go to Rudy Park.
Rudy Park was big time. Yeah,
you had to be big time to play there.
And then Warren Park, we had the tournaments in Warren Park.
Yes, with Coach Mazur. Yes.
Yeah. So what I wanted to bring up is that if either you were playing basketball in, like, I lived on right across from Washington Street Park, right? So I played at the Washington Street basketball, except for there was no full court because it was too big at that time. And then I would play wherever we would play at Rudy Park, or the Sadowski Park was one of my favorites, right? Yeah. But even though you're playing against different competition, but if you play there enough, you have a better chance of playing better than someone who's playing on that court for the very first time. Is that fair? Is that fair?
Yes.
So like at Washington Park, since it was across the street, I play all the time. I could do backward shots. Like, even if I played against big guys, I owned that court, right? So now I'm going to relate it to the bubble. One thing I think that the bubble brought out was, one, it gave an opportunity to these young stars to rise, because I think they rose. Jamal Murray, a lot of these kids rose. The Heat players, Doncic from the Mavericks. Just there were so many people you could mention that I remember growing up. You would mention 5 or 6, 7, 10 people, not as many as athletes you have today. And then two, I thought it helped. It helped some of the younger players because the stars are stars, but the younger players because they're playing on the same basketball courts for that entire period of the tournament. So don't you think that would add into be able to improve your shot making abilities?
Yes, because you figure, like, I know, like, where I grew up, on the side by Patton Center, Perth Amboy. You go to Patton Center, you knew that when you're going for the layup, that you had to cut it short because the dirt was right there, or a certain or certain size, where you could hit the three, 2-pointer back in the day because the size of the court, it was not really the regulation size, and you knew that, but you took that jumper there. Or either my favorite play was Delaney Holmes. You knew not to go full speed because you had from where the goal was to the wall was probably about 2 feet. So you pretty much knew, all right, I could shoot here. You knew the other side on Delaney Holmes, the the court, the rim was 10 feet tall. You knew that one was 10 foot. This one was
9.5.
Like 9.5. So you knew you could dunk on this one, but you would kill yourself on the other one.
That's how I busted my knee.
Yeah, it was bad, and you just knew, or it was real slick on Delaney Holmes. That was one of the things I remember, that
right.
You couldn't go in there and with your sneakers wet, because you knew if you did, you were going to slide into either the stage or you're going to run into the wall. One of the two was going to happen. So you knew with all these different courts in Perth Amboy that you had to adjust your game at all.
Right, but the people who played most on a particular court seemed to outplay what they would normally play if they went to a different court. Right. So it just seems like since they were playing there, I could see the young ones taking so many shots, but they're getting used to it, right? And then you don't have the same environment. I really liked it. I wish they would do like a tournament outside of the NBA for this, because I kind of enjoyed it, trying to see everyone at one time. I'm a little tired because the games were back to back, but it was awesome. We're also had a great time in sports. It's difficult with the COVID and so forth, but think about it. Every major sport is on right now, right? You got the NBA finals, the Stanley Cups, the baseball playoffs, and you got football. I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that.
A lot of different TVs.
A lot of different TVs, a lot of upset wives. But again, with I'm really enjoying, how the NBA put together the bubble and the team, and I'm really happy to see a lot of stars coming out of this tournament. Now I'd like to let's go to our next topic, college football today. Right. So, you were a college athlete. And what do you think about, what do you think about how it's being played today, where there's not going to be as many fans, that environment, right? You're going to still be in your home field, but you playing for Tulsa, how do you think it's going to affect some of the particularly defensive players, right? Because we get pumped up.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of difficult. You figure, because I think like a lot of the schools are letting, I guess the students, come to the games, and they're supposed to sit a certain, 6 feet or whatever apart. But then, my thing is, I didn't bring this up with you before. What about the alumni that are spending all this money, donating all this money to these big the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Clemsons, South Carolina, all these big schools. Are they letting those alumni in as well?
Yeah, I don't know. But I guess I'm looking at it more from a player perspective, right? Think about it. You have, juniors or seniors that have opportunities for the pros, right? Then you have, you have that for the pros, and you have some younger players that are coming to the school, right? Think about it. They got drafted, particularly to play at those big time schools, and you want that, you got to tell me you played in front of those, right? Doesn't that crowd get you going? Doesn't it a massive impact for football players? Where just
It does, with Tulsa, we had, our stadium was like 35,000 or 40,000. I got a chance to play at OU. It was 80,000 there. And we have a crowd that size. I don't care even if you were to visit it, you get all revved up and all jacked up, getting, in front of these crowds. You want to do as well as you can. But, just with this whole COVID thing, I don't think I would have played. I think I would have, opted out, for this year. I know, like a couple of my friends, kids, they did that, where they got to save a year. Or if I knew that I was like a top 10 pick in the draft, I probably opt out to play, get prepared for the NFL. Because you figure if you're a defensive lineman and the offensive, you're 2 feet from this guy. So I don't know if whatever he's breathing on me, no matter what kind of, whatever kind of shield they can come up with, you're still going to have somebody that's going to be breathing in your face all the time. You're going to be rolled on top of something, and what's going on in the world. People don't know exactly how this is transmitted. Me personally, I would have opted out. I would not have played this year.
Right. Interesting. But and I could respect that. I'm trying to stay focused on this particular piece is how. Let's say you do play, right? How it affects you without having that extra. That's our timer for next one. Without having that extra adrenaline, right? Because as defensive players, you want to be jacked up. As offensive players, you want to be jacked up too. But there's a lot more play remembering, right? So outside of the fact that due to the health risk, how's it going to impact the players without having that extra, the 12th man on the field for college?
If you want to get to the next level, you should be able to. You should have to self-motivate yourself. You should be able to jack yourself. If you got to bang your head, I've seen guys do it, bang their head on the wall, bang their head on the floor, slap each other in the face, and all kind of crazy stuff. I saw people do when I was playing. But you should be able to motivate yourself. Well, hey, I want to get to the next level. So I know that every single play, every single down, every game that I play in, that I have to do my best because you know what? I want to get to the next level. So I should be able to motivate myself where, I want to, I want to get to where I want to get to. I want to be at the NFL level.
Wow. See, that's why I wanted to ask you, because that makes sense, right? The guy who really, really wants it, nothing's going to stop him from that self-motivation to get to the next level, right? Let's say you're not in the top 10, but you have a shot, right? I mean, you're gonna play self-motivation. Now, that's a good lesson for everybody to learn, right? You don't need anything outside. That's just a bonus to motivate you. But if you want something, make sure that you have that self-motivation inside of you is what I'm getting from you.
Like the kid, Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. He has no reason. He wouldn't have to play a snap. He's still going to be the first player picked.
Right.
Why is he out there? He's out there because of his, for his teammates, and he's out there, because it's a drive in him that he wants to be the best and he wants to get to the next level. So he's going to go out there and he's going to put it all out on the line because he wants to be with his friends and his teammates, and he wants to get to the next level as well.
Also, I think he's a little bothered because he wants that championship, because he wanted to win it. I was just like, awesome. So he wants that championship back. So I think that's another motivation for him. But I wish that kid the best. But I had some. Let's see where we could take this. Speaking of Trevor Lawrence, and you brought him up, so I'm gonna move to that piece. Hold on a second. So speaking of Trevor Lawrence, I had some people. I think you were on that string of Facebook where they were saying, "Let's tank and go after Trevor Lawrence." What the heck? What's wrong with people? Right? What do you think about that comment?
That's a hot one. Yeah, last year when the Giants picked up Daniel Jones, when I drafted him, I was one of his biggest haters. But then I turned around, I started, looking at the film, from Duke and, just the way he carried himself toward that. But then when he started the fumbling and the interceptions and all the other craziness, it was like, well, maybe he's really not the guy. Maybe he's not the guy. So, yes, I jumped on the tour, the tank for Trevor bandwagon, because He just has the look of a real franchise
Was
quarterback.
that you that posted it?
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
That's even better, man.
I did it.
Oh my God! Oh, I'm impressed that you actually confessed to that.
Yes, I did it. Yes,
But I was like, what is wrong with these people? You know, you guys you're killing me.
I had to do it.
I always mess with these South Florida fans, and I feel like, no, too bad. They're not as sports knowledgeable as they think they are, right? They just don't get into the sports, I believe. That's why most of the sports radio hosts are from New York. But you and the other guys that are up there, I don't know what happened to you guys.
I had to do it.
I look at it this way. I said it last year, right? I'm a big Eli Manning fan. I'm a Danny Dimes fan only now because he's our quarterback. I'm going to go with what I'm not going to wish him bad, right? But the Mannings have genes. I mean, that's a good a genealogy, or a tree of where you had Archie Manning, you had the two Mannings, and the other brother was really good. I thought they brought him in too soon. Let him learn from Eli, and then proof was in the pudding. Eli would have not done any worse for the Giants than Daniel Jones did. Period. Right, and it doesn't help that Saquon Barkley is out, but he wouldn't have done any worse, and he would have had that time to start, learning the game from a person who learned the game from another great quarterback all his life. And had a brother that's bigger than him that he learned the game from.
I'm getting ready to bash the Manning legacy right now. I'm gonna bash it. Okay. We had Archie Manning. I'm gonna date myself. We had Archie Manning, great quarterback in college. Got to the NFL, never won a thing. What did he spend most of the time doing? Running for his life with the New Orleans Saints. He ran for his life. That's why, he scrambled all over the place. He ran like he was on fire every week because he knew the opposite line would block for him. Okay, we get to Peyton. What did Peyton have? A great offensive line. He had great receivers. So he had the structure, Peyton. Then you get to Eli. When he won those two championships, what did he have? He had a great, Pettigrew, Snee, O'Hara, and I forgot the other guy's name. He had a great offensive line both times when they won. Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, just say I'm wrong. But they had a great offensive line and they had a great running game, and they had the standout receivers when when play action, go deep to these guys. That's what they had. Now, I wouldn't have drafted Saquon Barkley with the number 2 pick. That was too high. No.
He's good.
No, because he's a generational running back. But what do they do in the NFL now? They run by committee. So now you're going to pay him $1 billion, when he comes back, and hopefully, knock on wood, the guy comes back because he's a great back. But I wouldn't have drafted him that high. I'd have picked the quarterback first, and then you work with the line.
Wow.
Yeah, I went that route. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We got difference
little bit.
Giants. That's interesting. For me, the Giants always go big. I think their biggest weakness with Eli was their defense. I don't care who it is. We've always won with great defenses, and we've always won with quarterbacks that did their jobs. Phil Simms was an MVP, a Super Bowl quarterback, but when Phil Simms played, there was a lot of other quarterbacks that were better than him.
Yep.
Right? And Hostetler won the following year.
Yep.
Okay? Great defenses. Right? So they had those quarterbacks. Eli, same thing. They had those type of quarterbacks. They had, look at John Paul Pierre for Tampa. He's kicking butt. Julius Peppers. I mean, they had some great they were so deep in the quarterback position, they were able to trade quarterbacks for high prices. So it was always about defense. And remember, Spagnuolo left. Now he's with Kansas City. Right? Spagnola's my guy. I didn't want him to go. But then he wanted to be a head coach. I understand, but he was terrible as a head coach.
He was
right?
awful.
But for me, it starts with deep. Where I see Giant football is not playing Giant football is one. It starts with the defense, right? And then number one. And number two, obviously, the big line. You have to have the line. You have the running back. But also, I haven't seen them utilize the tight end like all the Super Bowl champion Giants used. Think about how many great tight ends
Bavaro.
were effective. You understand? And we don't seem to use that anymore. We don't have we were successful, and we're about to go to the next session. We were successful with the Victor Cruzes, that the Julian Edelman type of guy. We don't have someone like that now. I don't know where they're going away through the whole, yes?
You have Evan, what was his name? Roxy Ingram. Roxy slide, fall down, whatever happens to him. So, great talent, but he's not working out.
Yeah, I still think that, Daniel Jones should have took some time, but it is what it is. The only thing we got going for us, the NFC East stinks.
It's past stink.
Yeah, so
it's way past that.
So I figure we got a shot, right? We won with on a 9-5 team, so I think we'll do pretty good there. All right.
I'm gonna blow up the Giants fans real quick. We're gonna go 0-16.
Oh my God! I can't believe it.
Will not win a game this year.
God, he's killing me.
Yep, I went that 0-16. Not a game.
Oh my God! Our the other spots on the sportscast.net are gonna give me a lot of stuff. I got a fellow Giant fan that's roasting me. There's no way they're gonna go 0 ever. Ever they're gonna go 0. Yeah, I'll put money on it right now. It will not go 0.
Okay.
Because just as the NFC East, we beat each other up. We know each other. We know enough to beat each other up. Whether we win 2 or we win 8, I don't know. But we're not going to go 0. So
0. I said it right now. October 1st.
Okay, October 1st. So we got some time in January, February, if it goes that long, to see what happens. But we don't even have that long, because they're going to win. I believe they'll win a game before January. So I'm predicting that. There you go. All right, so let's go into the next piece I want to talk about. What do you think about the Patriots and the Chief game coming up?
That's a good game. That's a good game. Cam is back. They're running him a little bit too much. He might get hurt. Even though he is a 6'6", about 250-pound quarterback.
He's 6'8".
He's huge.
Yeah, he's big.
They're running him a little bit too much. Lighten it up, and they should be. But the Chiefs have who? Patty Mahomes.
Yeah, listen to me. His mom wants him to be called Patrick, so you got to respect the moms.
Oh well, you want to get under the mother's skin, so you got to call him Patty. That make her mad.
Patrick.
Oh, excuse me, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, she corrected the big time guys. Called in. Do not call him Pat. Call him Patrick.
Okay, Patrick. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football.
Yeah, I mean he's amazing. I mean, I was looking forward to that game against Baltimore, and it was just
they got steamrolled.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was an awesome game, but this one's going to be interesting because you got 2 great coaches. I was happy for Andy Reid winning it, even though he was with Philly all those years, but he was a great guy, good coach. And you have Bill Belichick that's probably got a Tom Brady chip on his shoulder, if he has one or not, I don't know. But I think this game's going to be relatively good. But so who do you think is going to win this game, and who do you think is going to perform better? Patrick Mahomes or Cam?
Patrick Mahomes. 34-28.
34-28. There you have it. 34-28.
I'm throwing it out there.
That is interesting. That's a possibility. We'll see. Belichick's defense is still doing pretty well. And hey, listen, I like Brady, so I'm rooting for Brady to go, right? But I respect the organization for the Patriots, and it's tough because I like Cam Newton. I think that he was good enough to have been picked up. Patriots got lucky. And the show, again, like you said, your self-motivation, that something has to drive you. For him to take a 1-year agreement, for nothing close to what these guys are being paid, and pretty much say, okay, I'll show you.
He
I'm
will.
going to play and you're going to pay me.
And I'm gonna play hard.
I'm gonna play, and you're gonna pay me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of rooting for Cam, right? Patriots. I like the organization, but I can't say I'm rooting for them, right? I like to see a change, but I think that game's going to be great. Patrick Mahomes. I mean, what do you think? I mean, before the NFL, did you know much about him? Like, you played at Texas Tech, I think, right?
He played, Texas Tech. His dad was a pitcher, I think, with somebody, a bunch of teams. He was a great player, at Tech. We played down in the Dust Bowl. The stadium they had at Texas Tech was a mess. Every time you would tackle somebody, when the dust from the red dirt out there in Lubbock, Texas, would hit you on the face. And for him to be able to play out at that stadium, my kudos go to him.
Oh, really? So the stadium had like a baseball field on it too? Is that what it was?
It was just that it was so much dust from, because Lubbock is in the middle of nowhere. It's like somebody took the city and just booped and just dropped it in the middle of nowhere. And it's red clay dirt. And then when the wind blows or whatever, it blows into the stadium and it covers, get on the artificial turf. And then when you tackle somebody, it's like a cloud of dust when you tackle somebody on.
Oh man, you're breathing all that in. That's got to be tough. Texas Tech used to be, was it at UTEP? They were the story of Glory Road, right?
Yep, UTEP.
Right.
Don Haskins.
Don Haskins. They were the first all African American team to start and to win the national championship.
Because one of our the basketball coach from Tulsa played there too, Nolan Richardson.
Oh, really?
He played there. And then he left Tulsa, went to Arkansas. And he's another great man. He's a really good guy. A lot of people, forgot all about him winning NCAA championships too, an African-American coach.
So I love that movie, and everyone, I think they forget that UTEP is Texas Tech right now.
UTEP is University of Texas El Paso.
Oh yeah. No, UTEP, right? What is it? Texas Tech was UTEP, right? Yeah, Texas Tech was UTEP. Interesting. I think that one of my favorite plays, I think it was, I don't know if it was a playoffs or the Super Bowl. He's doing things that either he's just watching and taking shots that I could do these, or he's just some instinct or spidey sense. But the play I saw last year when he was running and he was like, he's going to run out of bounds, and he faked it and he kept going and scored. It's amazing. And you know what it is? Everyone's scared to hit him. And at the same time, they figure he's going to run out of bounds, and he just ran through them all.
He's a lot bigger than you think he is. He's at least probably about 240. He's at least 240, 230, 240. He's not a little quarterback. He's a big kid.
Really?
I think he's got a little size to him.
I didn't know that. He's pretty fast for a guy with that much size.
Yeah.
And then they were showing how in college they were practicing the no look pass. And then I just saw how he faked one guy out. He just does things. He seems like a basketball player that is. No, he's a professional quarterback that's got basketball moves, and he's using basketball moves while he's playing quarterback. Does that make sense? And he can't be the ultimate point guard as a quarterback. So imagine he's just faking guys out. I mean, he's awesome to watch. He's awesome to watch.
I'm getting ready to date myself again. Randall Cunningham was the same way.
But Randall Cunningham was a phenomenal athlete. I don't think he's even close to Patrick Mahomes, though. Because I think that Michael Vick was better than Randall Cunningham, and I just still didn't. They're not at that Patrick Mahomes level.
They don't have the talent. They didn't have the talent that around him that Patrick Mahomes has. Randall Cunningham had a bunch of bum, awful receivers. Michael Vick, he had a couple, Roddy White.
He played at Philly, dude. He played 1 year, and the next year got $100 million. He did something right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's hard to say about how much you have around, at least for me in football, because then you could argue, I hate the argument where, if that quarterback was on that team, he'd win that many Super Bowls too. You don't know that. You don't know. Look at Carson Wentz, right? As much as they wanted to keep him, as much how great that he is, Nick Foles kept winning every time he came off the bench. And Nick Foles starts and he didn't do well. Now Nick Foles is going to start for the Chicago Bears. And he's doing better coming off the bench than he is as a starter.
Well, maybe that's what he needs to be, like a relief pitcher. The other guy, warming up, and then they throw him in, the second quarter, third quarter, whatever.
Yeah, and you never know. Maybe he's being able to see more things from the sidelines to be able to handle it and react when he goes in, right? Because it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback, but if you could actually, if it's Sunday, you're playing that quarterback, and they say, hey, now you got to go in, you better do what you think you could have done. Right? Because we're always on Monday going to say, oh, they could have did this. Well, when the guy gets replaced, he has to come in and finish that up. Let's see what we got here. All right. So that game I'm looking forward to. I'm sure you are as well.
34-28.
I'm 34-28. I'm going to be looking for your piece. What do you think about Tyler Murray? That's something I want. I put that down specifically to ask you because of his size and you as a defensive tackle against this guy. I wanted to see what your thoughts were.
Well, the same thing is I played defensive end as well. And there's no way I would want to spend my Sunday afternoon chasing this guy all over the field. He's probably 5'7" at the most. I don't even think he's probably, he's probably, they listed at 5'9". He's probably 5'7", and he's fast. I got a rocket, a bazooka for an arm, and you would be spending 3 hours chasing him all over the place. And I'd probably be gassed and done. I'd probably pull a hamstring or a fat muscle or something, and I would be done after the second quarter after chasing this guy all over the field. I just couldn't do it.
Well, what's funny though? You say that, but when Flutie was coming into the NFL, or they were saying before I think he went to Canada first, but Lawrence Taylor was like, does that little man know that it's a seven-step drop in the NFL? It ain't 15 or vice versa. And he goes, I'm going to be all over that guy, right? So, a different mindset of Lawrence Taylor, right? I'm going to get him, right? And Flutie did well. I mean, he did well. I don't think he's at the level of Tyler Murray. At least we don't know yet. But you got to give Flutie a lot of credit, for the achievements he's done.
I'm gonna throw a name at you. You're gonna know who this is. Mm-hmm. Glenn Davis was Doug Flutie before Doug Flutie. Our coach, Glenn Davis.
Yes.
High School. Yes.
Really?
Yes. I saw back in I saw videos with him playing when he played in high school. He was the same way.
Really? He played for University of Delaware.
Township.
Yeah, he played for University of Delaware.
Yeah, he played in Madison Township High School. But I saw the videos of him playing in high school, and he beat all those big schools down there in Monmouth County. He was that good. How
many years you play for him?
What, Mr. Davis?
Yeah.
Just my senior year, that was it. But he was there my whole while. But he was the head coach my senior year.
Oh, yeah. So if he's the head coach your senior year, then I missed out because I didn't play until my junior year, and I only had him for a year. And he would make sure that I would get my touches with the ball.
Because Murphy was after, I think, Davis.
Yeah. He was the one that would he made sure I got my touches. He liked he knew I could throw the ball up, I'll catch it. But he was pretty cool coach. That's interesting. But Tyler Murray, I like what he's having. Look at Andre Hopkins. Okay. Texas Houston isn't doing.
I'd be happy too if I had the two receivers he had.
Hopkins is doing pretty good.
He's not doing that bad at all. Him and the other Fitzgerald. Both of them.
That's one of my favorite guys right there.
He's always been a good guy. He played 12,000 years though.
Yeah, but he's just. I'd want him to get win just for him. He's a guy. He's only played for
Cardinals,
right?
Yeah, like 17 years or whatever, some crazy amount, whatever it is.
He's still good. I mean, but just he's one of those guys that you really root for. Even though it's not your team, but you root for that they do good. So. I really like to see them do well or go a little farther for him. And then let's see where we're coming up. We're coming up a little bit on the time, so I want to leave some time to talk about a few other things. Next one, I want to talk about your thoughts on Mike Tyson boxing for Thanksgiving.
I don't know what was in Roy Jones's mind, to want to get in the ring with Mike Tyson.
It's money and Well, why do you say that though? Roy Jones can play.
Mike Tyson, no. This is a little bit out of his element, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, I guess he feels it's going to be like redemption for whatever else, toward the end of his career. And,
Right.
all the bad things that people say about him,
Mhm.
but now look at the guy, he's making money, doing whatever he's doing. You don't hear any crazy stories about him. And this is going to be his time to redeem himself when he beats the tar out of Roy Jones.
I don't know, man. Roy Jones was great at his. Well, first of all, look, Mike Tyson was one of my favorite boxers to watch, but Roy Jones is it's Rory Jones, no? Rory Jones was a great fighter, and they're at the same weight. It's not like they're both 50 something years old. So you're just talking about 250-year-old boxers going after each other. And remember, Rory Jones is more of a boxer than Tyson. So, but more of a boxer. But have you seen Tyson? Tyson's ripped.
Yes, it's redemption time. He's going to cut the ring off. He's going to cut the ring off. He's going to get him in the corner, and he's going to beat him down.
I don't think you think there's going to be a knockout.
That's a knockout.
Okay, I don't think there's a knockout.
Knockout, 2 rounds, or either he might quit. He might say, you know what?
I know,
he hit me in my kidney, and I'm done. I'm 50 plus years old. And now I don't want to be peeing all over myself for the rest of my life, so I quit.
That's messed up. I don't know. I think Roy Jones could give him a good fight, in my opinion. I like to see those guys come back. It's pretty funny. They're just showing. George Foreman won the heavyweight at 50, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he won. Wasn't it 15 rounds?
12, 12 or whatever. Even
whether it was 12, 15 rounds, and he never sat down. He stood the whole time.
Because he knew if he sat down, he wouldn't be able to get back up.
That's what I say. It's still impressive, right? But it's true. You ever play ball? You sit down for a little, like, I don't want to get back up. But I'm excited. It's going to be in Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to that fight. I miss boxing. I'm not a big UFC or any of that kind of stuff, but I miss boxing. And I think they're going to put on a good show. And I think that, an athlete's an athlete. If they're training like they're training, they're not going the full 12 rounds. I think they're only boxing like 5 or something like that. I don't think it's a full 12 rounds. I think we'll get a good I think it'll be exciting. They may start building the senior tour for golf.
Why? Why bother? I wouldn't get it. There ain't no way I get in the ring with anybody. I'm 50-something years old. Get in the ring. Get out of here. No way.
You give me a couple million, I'll get a ring.
I'll think about it.
Exactly. But all right. Well, that's in Thanksgiving, so we're I'm looking forward to seeing some of that and eating some good food at Thanksgiving. And one of our last topics I want to kind of bring up is how I look at it. I know you mentioned a little bit before, me being a big Yankee fan, and the playoffs are going on, and the Yankees moved on, thank God, and Garrett Cole is playing lights out. Everyone would always give me a lot of heat regarding that the Yankees buy their teams, they pay the most money. And I'm relating that to the NBA because it's like, the Yankees are going after the best players as an organization. And in the NBA players are going after the best players to put on their team. So you got to pay them too. So for me, you got to bring that up in the same breath as you bring the Yankees payroll. The other team paying a lot of money as well, but Yankees are there to win, just like LeBron is.
Yeah, but then back in the day, was it Tampa? One of those two teams, Tampa Bay, was it the Marlins? One of them. Didn't they do the same thing as far as
yeah, they beat the Yankees.
But their
they beat the Yankees.
But when their payroll kind of high, they got rid of next they had a fire sale the next year and got rid of half of those guys.
Yeah, that's why the Marlins fans don't. That's why they did it the second time too. They did it twice. They build a team and then they get rid of it, and they beat my Yankees, unfortunately, but that's why it's hard to be those type of Marlin fans, because I don't know about you, but I always feel like I want to see the champion defend their championship. You'll have some guys leave this and that, but they just dismantled that team. It was
because the owner didn't want to pay all that money, so it was like,
yeah, but they had more games sold out. Miami fans are fickle. They're not very loyal fans. But when, just like in sport in areas, and it's not just Miami, particularly Miami, when the teams win, they come out, right? So if you're making money, when the Yankees and the Mets were playing their best and they went to the World Series, both stadiums were sold out. They would play a doubleheader, one in Yankee Stadium, one in Shea Stadium at the time, and both games were sold out. So it shows you if you put a good product on the field, people are going to come, right? But I'm just trying to, at least I'm giving the analogy of, Yankees buying players, getting the best players, no different than what the NBA players are. LeBron gets his pick of who he wants to have, right? They're already talking who's going to come here. Kawhi Leonard did the same thing. I don't think is what Golden State did by getting KD, but they were good already. They recruited that team. So I still give him. And I don't think LeBron would have won if Draymond Green would have been smarter. So he didn't get ejected. But again, I just wanted to bring up the point that, look, the Yankees isn't the only sports organization that prides itself on winning by getting the best players.
If people are going to pay, if them teams are going to pay them, God bless you. Go right ahead. You got all the Yankees, Philadelphia Phillies. They're like that. The New York Mets. There's a bunch of teams that do it. And in baseball, football, basketball, wherever. And if the owner's willing to open up his pocketbook to pay these guys to come there, guess what? I'm gonna come there and I'm like, hey, you know what, buddy? Come on. They got plenty of money here. Come on. And that's what these guys are doing.
The NFL's got a better cap, though, right? They're more protected than the NFL and then the NBA and the Major League Baseball. Those guys get guaranteed contracts, right?
In the NFL, you'd never see guaranteed contracts.
Forget about even the guarantee. What people don't even understand is that no matter what the final agreement or contract is, the reason the players want to get most of it up front because they may not get that entire contract, right? So, you could have a $500 million contract, but you may only have $50 million of it guaranteed.
Oh, like Patrick Mahomes?
Right. That's my point. No, I think he'll earn it out. Don't get me wrong, but they're playing the risks, right? But $50 million isn't too bad anyway. So
I take it.
Exactly. All right. So, we're going to be wrapping up a little bit. And I just wanted to see if, just checking here, see what you got. What are you watching this weekend? Any particular sport?
Tulsa.
Oh, really? Who are they playing?
Tulsa plays UFC this weekend.
Do they really?
Yeah.
UFC or UCF?
UCF. Central Florida, whatever the hell it is.
UCF, Dante Culpepper.
That's right.
Oh, really? And are they playing here or are they playing in Tulsa?
Playing it there.
Yeah, they got they did a good job with their not only with their teams but the school. Definitely I'm from Florida, so I'm not from Florida, but I'm in Florida. So shout out to UCF, and then because of you, I'll root for Tulsa as well.
Tulsa 30-27.
30-27. All right. So again, I want to thank the crowd and thank for everybody to listen. And we'll be streaming live each week, Thursday. Right now we're set for 8. We'll see where we're going to be at. My Arocho, I have my man Byron. You want to tell who we are? And Byron Jones.
Byron Jones, former University of Tulsa, retired staff sergeant, Monmouth County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
All around great guy.
All around great guy and a great family. I graduated with his sister, so shout out to Vonda and the family. And before I end up, I just want to remind everybody that thanks for coming to the Sports Cast and the Victor and Byron Jones show. Please subscribe to all our channels on YouTube, on Twitter at thesportscast.net or one. And each week you'll hear new episodes. We'll be talking about all sports that are going on, some historical sports. We're also going to be we're going to be trying to find those athletes and talk about the athletes that have contributed a lot of things to society, both after and after the game of football. Guys like, God rest Gail Sayers. He built an incredible financial planning company. And I think those guys should get some recognition. I know Gail Sayers was a superstar, but there's many guys that played for a long time that deserve to be noted about the success they had post football. And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at the Sportscast1. Visit the website of thesportscast.net. And I want to give a shout out to my buddy, Justin. He has his show here. I just got it. Justin's got a show coming up. You're going to talk about, he's a big Alabama Roll Tide. Sorry, Byron. He's a big Alabama guy, and he talks about the SEC, the big boy SEC conference. And be sure to stay tuned. You could get him on Periscope and YouTube at the Sportscast1. Again, at the Sportscast1, and it's the Riley and Constant every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Justin's a good guy. I'm sure you're getting a good show. A lot of college football, a lot of Alabama, and enjoy. So everybody stay safe. Byron, thanks for being my partner in crime here. Go Giants. How are you going to watch it? How are you going to watch a game thinking they're not going to win?
Tank for Trevor.
I'm going to be hammering you this weekend. All right. God bless and stay tuned. We'll see everybody next week. And thank you. Have a great night.
All right.
You too, man. Take care.
All right. You too.
Bye.